21st century advancement of technology, the vast knowledge available to expand humanity's collective consciousness, it seems like we constantly regress back to what we're comfortable with, even though they've been proven historically to have monumental failures.
Yes. I call it a move from superstition to science.
Let go of the anger, let go of the upset, connecting with the movement. This is a moment of evolution. All that is happening is that we are evolving as a species, we are evolving as a race, we are evolving as a being, we are evolving as a universe. This is a moment of learning. It's like breaking through an old shell into a new shell. So allow yourself to break through, even if it's painful. Allow yourself to break through focused and knowing that this is part of growth. We are becoming enlightened, we are becoming aware. Be strong, be in your heart, be of vision, do not be afraid, and I will see you somewhere, sometime. I wish you well.
Radico come on, and we were speaking to him no less than 10 minutes ago, so hopefully he can sort his internet out and get back on. If not, we're going to have to ad-lib it for a little while. So what we're going to do is a few of the guys at Dark City are with me in the background. Hi, guys.
Oh, hi, Dom.
Hello. I had problems with my mic there.
No.
It's done.
Brilliant. So I was going to start the night off with explaining a few things I've been up to over the past week, and what's been happening has been very, 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 very interesting. First thing is I had bailiff issues. I was staying around a friend's, and I got woke up, only a couple of hours quick, bailiffs are at the next door neighbours. So I've gone running over there, the guy's sitting in his car, bailiffs have turned up and parked their car right outside their driveway. Anyway, the long and the short of it is, police got called, they turned up, they said they were there just for breach of the peace, and it was a civil matter, and there wasn't a lot that could be done because the man was just being peaceful sitting in the car. And they tried to use the excuse, well, he's breaching the peace because he's breaching this warrant. No, he might be breaching the warrant, therefore you go back to court and deal with that. It's a civil matter. He's not breaching anyone's peace. And the police sort of agreed and everything, and that he clamped the car, he tried that old technique. But I think he realised at the end of the day that he had a lot more jobs to do, and if he sat there and waited for a tow truck and the guy still didn't get out of his car, then they would still have to pay for the tow truck. They might try and force the bill upon him for the tow truck, but if people are starting to rise up to the system and not pay these things, they're starting to get it, and he probably thought, well, I've got 10 more jobs to do, I may as well go off and make my money elsewhere. So that was that job done and dusted. And that's the sort of thing I like doing. So that's bailiffs dealt with twice in the past week. And another thing, I'm sick of corruption. And I mean corruption that is there to control people. And this corruption, it's not just the government doing it. It's the so-called truth movement. And I am getting so sick of it at the moment, where people will have a little poke at me every now and again, and I'll run my mouth and speak my mind. And when people are charging money for events and they use the same old excuse where they've got to pay for travel expenses and all the rest, that's just, if people want to speak the truth, they can speak the truth. If people want to go and seek the truth, I don't see why you would pay for information that's supposed to be about freedom when the banking elites are the ones that are supposed to be controlling. Therefore, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, don't believe in money. Money's fiction. Give it all to me. I just don't get that part of it. So I've had a few rants here and there. I had another rant in a Skype room this week where I saw a guy called Mike Upstone typing away, and I told people to Google Mike Upstone Humanitad. And if you Google Mike Upstone Humanitad, you'll see that he was law director there. He's also been at Sandhurst Army. He passed top of the year. He's got some quite amazing credentials in his background, let's say. And he's also connected to somebody else that I've mentioned many times, Eleanor Wilson, who runs Passing Clouds, which is a nightclub which is more like an activist hub network in Dalston in London. This network is connected to transition towns, Grow Heathrow, Kew Bridge Eco Village, Democracy Village, the Occupy Movement, Anonymous. And if you Google Eleanor Wilson, Common Purpose, lo and behold, there's an Eleanor Wilson who's a Common Purpose graduate. There's 56 Eleanor Wilsons in the country. So you work out the odds on that. Somebody who's trained to be a leader, who's leading activists astray, could there be a connection there? I would love to find out. So I done that. I said Google Mike Upstone, and the words were disappearing before my eyes on Skype. And I was like, okay, what's going on there? So I tried it a couple of times, and then I tried it without spaces. I thought, what's going on? And when I tried it without spaces, they just kicked me from the room. So I was like, okay. And I got told that it might be because the room was the habeas corpus Dean Clifford room. And I find that quite hilarious when you've got these people who are trying to help one of the seen-to-be gurus in this movement who knows all this phenomenal knowledge about law and how to deal with the matter and speaks to people and tells people what the remedies are. And then he gets himself in prison and other people think they can help him. Yeah, it's great to see that sort of support, but let's have a bit of a realism check. You know what I mean? You're not going to help somebody with that phenomenal knowledge when he's got himself in that position. This is a sick system of corruption, and I don't think they care. And then on to these profit monkeys that are out there and try and charge people for truth. Now, they were coming at me and trying to sell their truth, I suppose, is the way to put it. And I just got sick of it. And I know a few people that want to set up festivals and things like that. And how many people would truly get involved on a free workshop day? And they're going, well, no, you have to pay for venues. I disagree. I think I could find a venue, a nice venue, and not have to charge for it. I think people would act communal on a free workshop day and turn up with parcels of food so everybody could join in. And then you could have a whole day experience. And then somebody said, well, or I think I said it myself, how about a festival and a whole weekend one? And would people be up for it? And then on top of that, I just thought, okay, these guys that are charging money and advertising for people to pay to come and see their truth. Great. There's a lot of people out there that can't afford these tickets and that. So how about we turn up in the bus of truth and just have leaflets, have things playing on a projector or TV in the bus of truth movies, and have questions and answers, workshops, role play within the law. Well, who knows? You probably wouldn't even need to just do the role play. I think you'll have live workshops with the alleged authorities. They would probably turn up to these sort of things, and then you could see how it's dealt with on the spot, I suppose. I think we've had somebody else join us as well tonight. Is that Bob that's come to the room? Oh, and is Max with us?
That's right, yeah, you've got Bob Earthwise. Coming up to the call, Dawn, myself. Coming up to the call, Dawn, because Max being late, just so you weren't out here on your own. But yes, you have got Max now on the line, Dawn.
Big up Max Radico, are you there?
Commonly known as.
Right, would you like to introduce yourself? Because for the past 10 minutes, I've just been having a little rant of what's been going on in my life, and it's been very, well, in fact, I'll just top it off because it's been really that interesting that I put up a comment on this advertising for free workshops and free festival if people would be up for it. And so many people are up for not just turning up to a free festival, but getting involved and lending a hand. And I thought, this is great. You know what I mean? It's started, the seed planted, and then people could just run from that. And before you know it, you've got a free workshop or a free festival. And it got to the point of where people were arguing back with me because they were saying, well, of course you use money, you use other people's money, Dom. Like, if you're staying around there, they have to pay rent, they have to, they pay for your food, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, if that's the naivety of people's arguments and the way they're going to attack me, I thought, great. But this one was just a huge rant. Some were quite good. Like somebody said, "Well, I gave you £5 for a book. That was 3 years ago when I was using money." And the thing is, it's over the past 3 years, I'm just seeing the corruption that is from the banking system. Hang on a minute. Yo.
You guys are pretty far over there in England to be talking like Waco.
Well, this is it. I'm wondering whether something like that's going to come along. But let me get back to the thread. On the thread, somebody was coming at me with, well, of course you use money and everything like that. And I don't know what your views are on new agey stuff, but this one tried to offer me to go into an Illuminati order 5 years ago. And I just came out with it and said, look, I've had enough of this bullshit. Like, people like you in an Illuminati order, as you call yourself, using sigil magic and things like that, and then you don't tell other people about it because it says on your manifesto that you need to keep all other humans in the dark. And when I asked her about that, she said, oh, that's because humans are ignorant. And it's like, what sort of a game do these sort of people play? And I thought that was just a bit far out, and I just take that on the chin. But when you think about it, you've got these people that claim to be Illuminati, and they say, oh, we're working for the light, though. You're using magic and everything like that. Do you know what you're doing when it's all connected to Crowley sort of stuff and all the rest of it? Who knows? Anyway, Matt.
They're just silly humans. Like you said, they're working with the light because they're different colors. A human is a man or a woman. I am just a man. What are you?
Well, that's a good thing. Like I used to say at a talk that I used to do, if we are not persons as legally defined, because a person is a corporation, then what are you?
Well, I'm definitely not 7 or less or more or anything like that. I'm just one. I'm not even I anymore because I can't even claim that kind of a fiction. Like to say that I can think for myself, to say that I know what's best for me, to think that in the past I've made decisions that were correct because right now I'm claiming to be me, and that me in the past is the same me as I am now, and I'm just going to be me in the future. It's like quantum physics. It irrevocably replaces language so that we understand that everything is a curse. We're always cursing. The only thing we can do is actually speak in terms of goodness to each other by expressing love. There's nothing less. Am I wrong?
Nothing less than what?
Than love. Like everything's hate. Everything in this world is an expression of hate lately. I have grown up in this and I can't wait to get out of it. All I can do is try and express it. Try and express how I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this game.
If it is like, I like what Bill Hicks says, love and fear. There are only them two emotions and branches off of that. So if it is only love and fear, the way I see it, the very tiny existence that we know about, called the physical universe, as some label it, that's resonating on fear, really. We have this in existence because we're locked to this realm, but what we truly are, our emotions, are not of the physical, is the way I see it. But when you get hate, anger, fear, revenge, all them sort of feelings inside you, you get a knot tie up in your belly, and you feel that when you're looking at things like there's information like some videos I've seen of yours, you say that you're a truther and things like that. Now within these information on the truth movement circles and things like that, you've got information about 9/11, you've got information about paedophile gangs and things like that. When you look at this information, it makes you angry, and that is a resonance you have inside you that I feel is your emotions coming to the physical realm, and you can feel it. But if you're in the now and operating in love, you almost in a daydream state as such, and not having any worries, and that's the place to be, I believe.
I totally 100% agree with you, and I say that the expression of me saying that I'm not who I used to be, therefore I'm not who I am. The one that I used to be was not full of hate, but definitely having it poured over it, is like the hatred is there. You can see it, you can feel it, you can taste it. But we don't know what hot is unless we know what cold is. So right now, you're right. You're totally 1,000% correct. Like 1,000,000% correct. Like, I don't know what kind of numbers I need to associate with this, but love is the answer. It's the only way. There is no other way than to just love with reckless abandon, with absolute paranoia that if you don't, then you're going to bring a whole bunch more hate onto yourself. In fact, you're going to manifest it. It's like eating it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I'm done.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from, because this is it is a resonance. This is what we do every day. But like the things you've done, you've gone out and tried to make people aware of situations such as 9/11 and things like that on the street.
If I may, on that note, and just cutting you off specifically at 9/11, I would like to present some information here today because I have a limited time only.
Brilliant.
I have some information to deliver that many might consider breaking news. News that maybe a lot of people have been suspecting for days, weeks, months, years. Rotations around the sun. Everybody's waiting for a revolution, right? But we're revolving right now. Aren't we spinning? It's ridiculous.
Well, a revolution, doesn't that just mean to go round and do it again?
That's right, I think so.
So I don't want to have another bloody revolution. I want to evolve, if anything.
Evolve.
It's
yeah, that's
on.
true evolution. Not like Darwin says, where we're coming from lizards. And that, funny enough, roundabout now, is my topic. I'm sorry to say, but I'm going to tell you guys some stuff. Not necessarily you, but the listeners and whoever's listening live right now, please share this.
Breaking news. Go for it.
Exactly. Drum roll, please. We need to understand that perhaps the man I'm going to mention, the information he has presented has always seemed quite obscure, incredibly elusive, based on absolutely, the weirdest evidence, the strangest phenomenons, stuff that's rumors, and frankly, I never understood it. Didn't make any sense to me, but at the same time, it's like that stuff that dreams are made of. So I kind of went along with it a little bit here and there. In fact, I have a friend, there's a friend here who introduced himself to me here in the place we commonly known as Canada. And he explained that he's been going through this crazy lawsuit for quite a few years. There may or may not be a publication ban on this that I'm about to express to you, but I don't really care. Why is his name eluding me right now? For some reason, his name is eluding me. But there's a lawyer, calls himself a lawyer, member of the bar in Canada.
This is not that David Wynne Miller, is it?
No. This is okay. Yeah, I'll just jump to the point real quick. Okay, it's a guy who's suing and has been suing David Icke for quite a few years. He's been suing David Icke and for lack of a better way of expressing it, a good friend of mine. There's been a lot of money spent on this lawsuit. The lawsuit is still currently in, battle ping pong phase, basically. The nature of the subject being anti-Semitism as we know it, the actual charges that are being applied to David Icke and some other bookstore owners and a bunch of other different stuff for defamation of character of this one specific gentleman who happens to be a lawyer who filed paperwork at the time simply to make sure that David Icke couldn't speak in Ottawa, actually, Ontario, Canada, wherever that may or may not be.
I don't know nothing about this court case with...
Well, I do believe it's going to give us some space to be able to talk about the things, because I have a quote from Robert Arthur Menard. It's the only quote, it's the only thing that he's ever said that I've really agreed with. And I kind of understand now.
The only thing?
Yeah, the only one thing. And I traveled all the way across back. Canada is considered the longest landmass, So getting in a car and traveling from one end to the other in order to meet with a man who took his sweet time because he thought he was a celebrity to talk with myself and three other younger than him. he entertained it and did do so, not after stealing some money and making some bad contracts and becoming an extremely bad role model. But after that, he said something to us all, not during the interview that's posted online, called "Are you free, man?" with a space and a question mark. He expressed to all of us that, what if David Icke is right? Even if he was, it doesn't matter. Robert Arthur of the Menard family of the Free Man on the Land Society says, it doesn't matter, because this information that we have right here, this information here that I'm talking about, he says,
as in the Free Man on the Land information.
Yeah, what has been coined the Free Man movement, or the movement, or whatever they want to call it. I'm not here to defame anything. I'm not here to say that everything. I am not here to say that everything that Rob Menard has said has not been extremely critical to me sitting in this room right now talking to you. It has been, and I give thanks. Thank you, whoever the man is, Robert Arthur Menard, and that's what I'm here to talk to you guys about. I don't know if anybody in this so-called world has really been outed.
Well, there's been I don't know. You probably get it yourself, don't you? People saying you're this and that. I think it happens to anyone that's on this illusionary ladder of truthness.
Many people have called me a reptile over the years. Many people have said that I'm a shapeshifter and that I change, and I'm admitting that to you guys now.
We shapeshift all the time, don't we?
I think so.
Yeah. But, you know what I mean? If we didn't shapeshift, we wouldn't be able to smile when we're down.
You've had Rob Menard on the show before?
I had Rob on last week.
Well, I'd like to say that I'll come on your show again when I have time. I have to go on the road as of tomorrow, but when I get back online, I wouldn't mind going on the show with you and Rob. I do anticipate, though, that this is going to raise a few eyebrows. I watched an interview this morning from pressfortruth.ca, which is Dan Dix in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And he and Rob had a discussion about Dean Clifford. And I'm very upset about it. I've placed quite a few comments on that video, and I really hope that some people actually ask some appropriate questions, because what's happening with Dean Clifford right now, being in solitary confinement in a jail in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, is extremely threatening. They tried to pick me up at the same time, but because I'm here with my good friend Luke Skywalker, I was protected by the Force. And I can't lie anymore, guys. I'm not kidding you. And he's not a George Lucas character, okay? He's actually a man. And there are many people out there, and a lot of people are going to say that I'm Jesus. They're going to say that Max Radico is Jesus, and Max Radico doesn't exist. So the thing is I'm not God. Dom, you know you're not God, but we're doing the best that we can.
Carol.
And frankly, Rob Menard, I'm not sure if I quite finished his quote, but what he says is, it doesn't matter if there's reptiles, it doesn't matter if there's Bigfoot, it doesn't matter if there's fairies, leprechauns, or unicorns. A unicorn's a rhinoceros, by the way. It's not a fictional white horse with a phallic anything on it. Anyway, the most important thing is that he says that this technology and getting through this is very important. And I would have agreed at the time. I did agree at the time. And like I'm saying, this is the only quote that I actually spread for the last 3.5 years since I met the man known as Robert Arthur Menard.
So it doesn't matter if you believe in reptiles, unicorns, giants, or whatever, as long as you have this information.
As long as you, basically what I came into the show here listening to you talk about, as long as you give him money, as long as you give him food, as long as you give him love, the man known as...
We just lose Max.
I think we did just lose Max just as he was getting into the flow of things there. But are you still there, Max?
He's trying to reconnect now, Dom. This is the beauty of live radio.
No, it's probably them aliens again.
Will you stop mentioning the extraterrestrials? You know what it happens to Robo when there's alien energies about?
Oh, I think that was just getting interesting, that conversation then.
And Simon Parks, when's he coming back on?
Well, on Sunday I've got Kevin Annett coming on. He's just writing up a little blurb for me at the moment.
It's getting to a point where we're going to have to start to get selective done. People are going to have to start forming a queue, especially for Sunday nights, from Sundays now. The schedule is, it should be from this Sunday. Hopefully I can't see any reason why not. Dark City Radio will be running all afternoon and evening, so we've got keep your eyes on the schedule and the Facebook. We'll do his best to keep you all informed. But yeah, it's coming along, Dom, moving nice and slow.
Well, the thing is, I've managed to keep it sort of semi-regular as it is. You know what I mean? I've missed out a couple of days since we've been on. And we're going to have these hiccups. It's not even really started yet, as you said the other day. And tonight, I think that conversation was just flying. He was getting into information there about people that we all look at their information. And I didn't know which way he was going to take that.
I don't want us to drift off too far because Max may come back. I'm just trying to reconnect with him again now for you. I've had a little bit of an experience of radio and so-called... Is that you, Dom? Of so-called free radio and free systems, free learning, paying for the truth. I haven't got an issue with paying someone for tuition fees or schooling fees. If I've got a job and I'm working and, that's their job, they've gone off and studied and learned, I haven't got an issue with that. I do think we've got to really be on our guard, especially our little crew here, for, as you say, the money spinners.
Well, this is what it brings me to, is like, when you're looking at some of these characters, and Jesse Ventura done a TV show, and I don't trust Jesse Ventura as far as I could throw him. And believe me, if I tried, he'd probably pick me up and throw me a lot further. But he done a thing called Conspiracy Theory, and he done one on David Icke. And at the end of it, he said that David Icke makes 1.9 million, and I think that's dollars, a year. And that's a lot of fucking dough. And he's right at the top of his game. Now, if you look down that chain, there must be you could do a little graph of who earns what on this truther ladder as such. Because there are people that are lining their pockets out of these so-called truths. And that's what gets me, because most of them, from the films like Zeitgeist and the rest of it, they all tell you that these banking elites are controlling the world. And next thing, they're going, buy this and buy that. And
it's a bit hypocritical, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like...
I think in legal circles they call that a conflict of interest.
Well, what I'm thinking is actually, how deep does this rabbit hole go? And if it's a conspiracy that we're looking for, well, let's look at a conspiracy inside a conspiracy inside a conspiracy. Because that is what somebody wrote, hinting about me in the Occupy Times, that I'm always on about a conspiracy within a conspiracy within a conspiracy. But the thing is, when you look at how deep this goes, they're infiltrating every sector of everybody's life. It's the Matrix. So what, you think that the truth movement's not going to be infiltrated? And who do you think's going to infiltrate it? The people that want to manipulate and run it and control it and tell you what procedures and processes to do. And it's like, I can see it quite clearly for myself. And I will say it verbally, as I've always done. I think there's a lot of frauds out there, and people need to be questioned about lots of different things, backgrounds, who they're connected to, and why all these little connections seem to be together, and then controlling and manipulating. And you look at the things like the Bank of Ideas, which was a huge squat within the Occupy movement called the Bank of Ideas. We found out it was a registered limited company. It was registered 3 years before Occupy was even started. And it became live when Occupy started, when they opened the building. This had a High Court case in the High Court. And when they passed it, now every squatting case could be quoted as using this one case. Within it, they've done it at another case called the Hobo Hilton, and they quoted from that as case law because there was like mistakes in that, and they would only pass it through anyway. They're going to pass it through, so they just passed it through and passed it through. And whose court case was that? That's like Phoenix, who's a well-known squatter who was always trying to fight to change the law on squatting. Well done, Phoenix. You've done it. You done it. You changed the law, brother. So he's connected to Eleanor Wilson of Passing Clouds as well. And it's just like, it's not paranoia. It's just all these connections, I think, need to be questioned.
Oh, you're 100% right. It's not paranoia. Richard Perry, he's a solicitor or a barrister, Queen's Counsel or something like that. But anyway, Richard Perry, you can look him up, internet. This guy, he didn't change the law, I suppose, but he got it reapplied on medical necessity. Medical necessity within people being convicted for using medical cannabis. He won his cases. I don't know if he had 8 cases or maybe 12.
What's this in on this landmass?
Yeah. Here in the UK. Yeah, in the UK, down in London. I don't know if all his cases were in London, but that's where he's based. So Richard goes to court and he wins his cases on medical necessity. And now a necessity in law is explained as you go to a lake and early hours of the morning and you see a man in the middle of the lake drowning. There's a boat there. Keys are in it. You jump in it, Dom. Being the superhero you are, you jump into this little boat, you start it up with the keys, you go out and you rescue this man. Drag him into the boat. He's been knocked off his little dinghy and his dinghy's sunk, and he's praising you, you saved my life, and you bring him back to the shore, and as you arrive, you see an ambulance there. You think, brilliant, this guy's a bit knocked about. You wave at him, and they wave back, and the police arrive, and you think, oh, brilliant. You pull up in your little boat, and you get arrested for stealing the boat. The owner had come, he hadn't seen the man, all he'd seen is 2 people joyriding in his boat that he'd left the keys in, and rung the police. Now, of course, you haven't stolen that boat. You took that boat as a necessity to save someone's life. Richard argued a very similar point, that for many people who were using cannabis, it was now a medical necessity. And the only choices they had were to wait for the government to change or to continue to suffer or to die in pain. And for many people, it has been the difference between life and death. I can't remember any of the individual cases. So he won, and then they decided, I think it came from the law lords, if I'm not mistaken, they decided that it was not English law. Now, of course, it was never English law. English law is written, no loss, no harm, no deception, no breach of the peace, written into that tort. It's an act. It's only an act of law. So they've now decided that, it's not English. It doesn't apply here. So, I don't know if necessity still applies. I know I would take the boat to save someone's life. It wouldn't even enter my head.
This is it. All they've done is saw a need and used it. And this is the thing. It's what do you need and what do you need to use? And the necessity of life. Like people that keep saying to me, you need money. No, need is an addiction if you see money like that. And I don't need money, personally. Thank you very much. You need food. You need shelter. You need air. You need water. Money is the middleman on all of these necessities that are in our lives that we need air, but do we have to pay for that yet? I don't know. It's coming. Look at the climate change scam, where you've got climate change being promoted over and over to tax the air that we breathe. Is that Max Radico back with us?
It certainly is. Are you back, Max?
Yeah, I am.
There you go, Dom.
Right, Max, let's cap that off, because you was at the Rob Menard bit with his quote of we've just been waffling about other stuff in and out, random stumble bumming in and out conversations, but now you're back, because I was saying that is really interesting stuff. But
I had been continuing talking, and I even exposed Charlie Veitch. I exposed a whole bunch of stuff. I apologized for a bunch of different things.
Well, you didn't know that you dropped out?
I didn't even notice, and I just kept going. Right. So I don't know where we left off. But
okay, it was right back. It was good 10, 15 minutes ago, and it was like...
I have 7 minutes left. That's all I got left for you guys. So if you have...
You do it. You do it. You just said Rob Menard and Charlie Veitch. Give me a couple of hit points on the pair of them. What do you know?
Okay, Charlie Veitch was falsely arrested in Toronto under the Public Works Protection Act. Was totally impossible because the Public Works Protection Act is nothing but a notice. It's not a default notice. It's just a notice that is posted at the courts in order to protect public workers and such. So Charlie being arrested for that actually led to the conviction of 1 or 2 or 3 others who were then... it doesn't matter. I can't even articulate it now. It's I don't know.
He got arrested though,
people to do the research is what I'm saying.
He got arrested though, yeah? But they used the false charge?
It was all fake. It must have been an inside job because that never could have happened. Nobody has ever been arrested under the Public Works Protection Act. It's impossible. No police officer is allowed to do that unless he brings it up to the next level. The Public Works Protection Act, and this is the thing, is Charlie came out of the jail and showed the paperwork, and the paperwork said that he had been incarcerated under the Public Works Protection Act, and he was foreign too. He wasn't even part of this country, but I understand the Commonwealth. So they used the jurisdiction. I'm just saying, I could explain it, but the thing is, it might take a couple hours. It might even take a court case. But the thing is, Charlie Veitch not necessarily is an inside job. Rob Menard not necessarily is a shapeshifter. But the thing is there is something seriously way deeper going on here than we can kind of understand. David Icke has been touching on a lot of stuff. I'm not saying that he's fully right. I'm not saying anything really. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Like, this is the thing. I'm not even going to express to you guys what I've been going through the last, say, 5 or 6 weeks or the intensity of it. I never thought that Grasshopper Media, which I didn't come up with, was going to be this big. It's not even big. The views that we get, I don't know if the view counts are hindered. It seems weird. There's never been a time since I met Richard Gage about 9/11, and then he gave me the words with able to speak about 9/11, and then I come all the way this far, and now Charlie Veitch is saying that we're all retarded. There is something going on here about what is about to happen. And you know what
is your Charlie Veitch theory? Because there's many flying around.
He's either a Freemason or he's part of an intelligence agency. And me, I'm part of... if somebody asks me for my ID...
hang on. That's a wild claim that Charlie Veitch is connected to intelligence.
Well, that's the thing, is you are too, and so am I. Do you understand? We are all spies. It's how deep are we actually into it? Who's blackmailing who? I don't know who's blackmailing Charlie.
Well, the thing is, Old English for Dom is law or jurisdiction. Spell it backwards, you've got MOD. Who knows? You know what I mean? We could be hiding it in plain sight. I might be a product of the Tavistock. I might be mind controlled, so I don't know I'm doing it.
I think more of us are than we realize. Many more.
That's why I think we've got to... I can't vouch for anyone else in this world, really. I can trust people, but I can't vouch for anyone else.
Well, you can't trust myself. Dom, you can't trust you can't even trust yourself, bro. I can't trust myself. None of us can trust anything. All we have is information, and it's time to go hyperspeed. Like I
trust them. It doesn't mean that they're not going to ever do something wrong to me, but there's people in my life that I can ground myself to, that I've known for years that this is how it is, and it's like, okay, cool.
But the more acts they make against you, the stronger the faith becomes. Or the force, if you will.
Can you hear that? The more acts they put against you, the stronger the faith becomes. So the thing is I've been attacked lately on a level that I can't even explain. I'm not just a TI, okay? I'm being followed. Stuff's going on that's just absolutely ridiculous that makes me think that David Icke is really right. But at the same time, I have no evidence to present to you here today, except to talk to you guys in the face of Charlie Veitch, in the face of Rob Menard, in the face of myself and my friend Luke Skywalker.
You've said you've got about 2 minutes left. Tell us about Rob Menard, because we missed all of that.
Okay,
so
Rob
nail
Menard,
that 2 minutes.
he might be a shapeshifter for all I know, okay? And the quote and all that sort of stuff about shapeshifters don't matter. Every time there's something that you agree with, that's a clue. So the thing is, I agreed with that for the first 3 or 4 years.
JFK.
The last couple of years, yeah. And I've had to, unfortunately, get stuck here in this place now where I feel like I'm being TI'd by all those things that David Icke talks about. But at the same time, I'm not even thinking that. I'm just relaying this as a story to people who ask. And then they tell me, holy crap, that sounds like David Icke. And I'm like, I don't think this stuff's really happening. But maybe Grasshopper Media, whatever that is, wherever I am, whoever am I, in all of this, I need to be investigated, and I'm asking for help. I don't know if you guys heard that before. If you can investigate me, investigate Rob Menard, investigate commonly known as Dom, because we all need each other's help. We need to love each other a whole bunch more. That's the only way we're going to do it. I am a professional now, okay, at nothing else but being a tattletale. So be careful what you tell me, because I'm telling every secret I've ever heard.
Yeah. Love it. That's it. Because nobody's ever going to stop me speaking my truth, and I will do that verbally in public arenas and everything. This is who I am, and I'm not being rude or abusive with it. Sometimes I bite. I'm only me, and I will throw things back. But this is a learning curve that I have to deal with.
Well, you go, brother, man, and you got my 100% support, okay? I'm right there behind you for whatever you do in that respect, because I know you got my back. And thanks for listening and watching my shows and doing everything that you do and inspiring me to learn more and to understand, so that I actually have the words that will protect me, and they have protected me, Dom.
Can I just cut in and make a statement?
This is Luke Skywalker, by the way. He just wants to say something before we go.
Go on, Luke.
How about we all just get together and have a little chit-chat and don't leave anybody out?
Well, that's how it should be. This is how we're going to find remedies, is by everyone realising that we are diverse and we can learn from others' differences.
So can I put something on the listeners real quick?
Yeah.
Why don't we all just drop what we're doing, look at the man next to you, give him a hug.
Yeah, and then let's chat, because after you give somebody a hug, you can't really go to war with them. So there's some stuff that's about to happen with Obama, the Pope, Jerusalem. If people haven't read the disclaimer yet, you've all seen Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Are you still there? Oh,
yeah. Sorry, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Destroy the Earth, because there was a notice posted for like 50 years on a planet that we could have gotten to. So the thing is there's a disclaimer here. I'm not sure if I mentioned it when I was on the show last time. King James Version only. All these jerk-offs that are not even using it properly, unfortunately, they're not even reading it. So if they read it, they'd understand what's going on and what's about to happen. And what Obama's about to do, or whoever he is, whatever we are, and that we're going to allow it, I don't know if we can stop it or if we should or what's going on. My friend Luke is trying to tell me a lot of things that we need to understand about the Force, about the God of Forces, and what may or may not happen there. I don't know, and we're not trying to break any news on that. But, everybody's got to do what they can, and we got to protect the children first, okay? That's 100%. Find it here first.ca, FINDITHEREFIRST.ca, and grasshoppermedia.ca. We appreciate anybody reaching out. We need all the help we can get. It's all love. If you have any hate, we will not even be able to see you. You're invisible to us now.
Yeah. Love is an inside job, so investigate all of us.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to speak. And I'm sorry I got to go, but I got to go to a doctor to make sure that I'm healthy, to prove it to everybody. Talk to you soon.
All right, top man. You're welcome back anytime, Max.
Thanks, guys.
Well, Dark City Crew, what do you reckon on that?
I reckon Max is really cool. I like Charlie. I've not got any problem with Charlie at all. As a person, his views, I don't know. It's his views, not my views. But I like Charlie as a person. He's cool.
I like Charlie, but he's well, you know what I mean. It's fascinating in these public arenas of truth where many of us are seen by thousands of people, literally all over the world as well. So you do end up in these positions. I don't know if that's the reason Charlie went out there to do it, but I didn't want to have a front row seat on the conspiracy networks, but My, what a ride I'm having.
It's like that conversation I had you when you were here, sort of like between the public view of, say, like David Icke, yourself, Charlie Veitch and stuff, and the personal person. You'll have to correct me words, it's the only way I know how to do it. But there's a person behind these, the people are up in the front, and there can be a split between the two, if you know what I mean. I mean,
Well, the thing
be
is,
yourself, don't you?
there are many conflicting remedies within the truth movements, and even the lawful rebellion, Magna Carta, free man on the land, commercial redemption, trust, chanceries. You've got all these different processes and procedures to learn, and all the rest of it, and not even mention the one that I've used recently, which was the Ammunus Curiae, which means friend of the court. And it is a legal procedure followed in the court procedures, and it means you're there to present the facts to the courtroom, but you're an interested party, but you're not the person. Well, that sounds like it fits the tin. So if I go in there and say I believe I am Ammunus Curiae, what you can't hold me for my views and my beliefs, surely. Surely my beliefs should be just as equal as your beliefs, and let's talk about them. I've never had that much trouble in court, and when they do send me to prison, it's like I've got a very captive audience, and I don't mind being there, so it's no big loss to me. But
I've met Charlie on 2 or 3 times. I wouldn't say I know the guy. I know some close friends of his pretty well, but I don't really know Charlie. The only thing I would say is, every time somebody mentions him, I get BBC. Every time somebody mentions him. You know, I don't know what happened to me, you know, but there was an amazing turnaround. I mean, nobody can dispute that. Charlie had a big turnaround there. And I've joked many times, Charlie was one of the first truthers to change his mind. Of course, he has changed his mind, and that's up to him. That's his point of view. But, you know, to actually scorn others for having that point of view, that's like me turning round and attacking my father because I now know better. I don't like that side of it.
no, I know exactly where you're coming from.
Something happened there, Don. Something happened. I mean, I don't know what happened at all. But yeah, he went out there and bang. I don't know. I went up to Charlie in the middle of Manchester. I didn't actually know what was going on. We were being filmed by the BBC on the allotment action at the time. We'd all wandered off. We said, no, we're going to see him. And we didn't get it. We all wandered off and said, you'll have to wait. We're going to Manchester to heckle Charlie Veitch. And we weren't really going to heckle him. We were going more to join in. And I walked up to him and I just said, hey, Charlie, blah, blah, blah. I haven't got a lot of time. We're being filmed by the BBC. And as I said that, I saw his face change. Yeah. So I don't know what happened there. I really don't.
Well, my favourite theory I've heard, my favourite Veitch theory is that a couple of weeks before he went, he was in Amsterdam, I think it was, but he was hanging about with a character who goes by the name of the interdimensional wizard, Ian Moore. And Ian Moore is an ex-Scientologist. We'll put the X in there. And he...
Pop Magic.
Well, he knows NLP as well.
Pop Magic. Is it the same Ian Moore who did Pop Magic?
Pop Magic? I don't know about that.
Right.
He looks like a wizard. A little tubby guy, and he was hanging about with him. And the best theory I've heard is like that Ian Moore used his Scientology and his NLP to freak his mind out, and then like they went to work on him over in America, and he just got a little bit brainwashed by the whole them explaining it to him. And it's possible, you know what I mean? It's like I don't know what.
Well, I know others who were in Amsterdam on the Lovathon they did in Amsterdam.
Which one was that? Was that when he went over to with Mel V or another time?
Melville, I think it was. I'm not too sure.
I think this is.
I think this is. It's another time there was a group of them went over from the UK, and I think it was just Charlie and one or two others, wasn't it, when he went there? I'm not too sure. But yeah, there was some weird, let's say, some weird events that went on there. Some of them probably induced by the copious amounts of cannabis that are available, and a lot of English people were not being used to that. Some of it may have been psychotropics. I really do not know, but a few people, or one person in particular, had a bit of an episode. And the story I got was Charlie was exemplary. He was really nice on all sides of this. You know, and really he could have been quite funny about it, and he wasn't. So, like I say, I've heard quite a few things about Charlie, and well, you know, I don't know the guy. I know quite a few people around him, like I say, and yeah, they've got no reason to make things up. Something weird happened to Charlie. Who knows what it was? What got me, to be honest, was that could have been me. That could have been me, you know. I don't think he's honestly a member of. I don't know, Dom. I've found out some weird things, you see, in my life recently.
I don't know. When you look at that, I know it's edited together, but when you have a look at it, and before everything was okay, and he was at the front row of the G20 protest with a megaphone saying, "Who let the dogs out?" when Ian Tomlinson got pushed over, and a couple of hours later, there's footage of him in a suit at St Paul's Cathedral, saying that Ian Tomlinson was obviously drunk, he had tattoos up his arm, you know, the police weren't there to cause trouble, and it's like, rah, you know what I mean? It's like, you know, with all this Sandy Hook shooting and everything like that, they pay these actors apparently to act as parts in these extreme situations, and it's like, I just said to him about it. Well, to me, it could be seen to be like that. And he hasn't talked to me since, except when I saw him at the Ashton allotment thing and said polite hellos and things like that. But I just don't know, because when you're supporting, like he told me that he supports the Occupy movement. And it was like, how can you support the Occupy movement when it's run by the government in every angle, from the security to climate camp to Tavistock and Common Purpose? It was just heavily exposed. How can you support something like that? That's what I don't. I'd love to have Charlie on the show.
Well, from me, I mean, like I say, from what I know, they've got a guy here, right, that worked in banking, it's gone pear-shaped, and that's the way he's come down onto the street. And when I look at you, Dom, I've got a guy who kind of started on the street. Oh, all right, Dom, all right. And we've got that angle on there. Anyone who's kind of come from nothing, who's got something, whether you've really got anything or not is debatable, but you know what I'm saying. It's easier to give it up, because you know you can do it. For those that are coming down this so-called hierarchical ladder, and very much in inverted commas so-called hierarchical ladder, it's difficult for them to give it up. And it's almost like, with the Occupy example there, it's, well, there's more of them and there's only Dom. What do you know? There's more of them, you're only Dom. You see, divergent thinking, the individuals that actually come up with the ideas that do bring change, are always outside the box. Of course, I'm not saying the likes of yourself are right all the time, Dom. No, I'm not saying that. But we've got to keep thinking outside the box. I mean, if we didn't, we'd still be all sat in a cave looking at two sticks going, wonder what a wheel would be. You know, we wouldn't do anything. We really wouldn't. I mean, some people might be quite happy with that. You know, that's not where we are. So yeah, man, I'm not qualified to say what happened to someone else. As Max said, I'm still investigating myself. I'm still scrutinising myself, because I really don't know. I really don't know. I presume, I used to presume, I was a guy called Paul and had an house and a job and a wife and a family, and that's the way you did it, and you worked hard and you employed other people, you could have your own business, and I was sold into that, mate. I realised that that's fake. It really is fake, and I put a lot of time and effort into that. So yeah, I'm not qualified here, me, Dom. I'm really not. I've had my experiences, but somebody else, I'm not qualified to speak of it.
Well, the thing is, when I was around your house as well, people were asking me these sort of questions. I think, did it even, well, I don't know who it came up about trust and the rest of it, and who, do you trust this person, do you trust that person? And I just had a look around the room, and it's like, well, I've known Kaz for like about 3 years, and that's the longest one in this room, so I can't vouch for her. So I can't speak for anyone else. I can only speak for myself, and
because he's a fucking
no man can speak for me.
Somebody did then. Yeah, I get that, man. I get that. I think trust is a personal thing. I think love's a personal thing. I think, and again, just going back off what Max had said, I think, I really do. I know this. I don't actually think it anymore. I'll correct myself there. I know love is the only way you set your mind free. It's not for anyone else. It's for me.
What is love, though?
Yeah, it's an energy, which most people, I would say, have got very misconstrued with.
I've got a guest coming. His name's Because. That's BEECOZ.
Okay.
If you want to look him up on YouTube, go on, speak for yourself.
Because 3001. That's my YouTube channel.
Hey, welcome.
Right, thank you very much. What was the Veitch? I heard you talking about the leech, the Veitch. What was we actually talking about with him? Charlie Veitch.
Well, people are saying
I
that
heard
he's
you. I didn't actually hear what you said.
basically, I'm around Because's house at the moment, and he really doesn't trust Veitch himself.
I called him out before he exposed himself for the 9/11 business. I just knew I had a funny feeling about him, and I put it on Facebook. I'm being followed by a certain amount of people, and a lot of his people started attacking me and saying this and that.
Because has got one of a really big YouTube channel. I've known about it for years, and this is how I know him. I've been contacting him, and I met him first time last year, wasn't it? January, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And this is what I do. I go around and meet all the real people behind the screen, and this is what a lot of people seem to miss out in their life, that connection to humanity. I think that the powers that be have created this web so huge that it's got everyone, including the so-called truth movement. It's how much of the story are they writing?
Good question.
And the thing is, it's going to be the people at the top of the game. That's even me. Yeah, try and expose me, please do. Go and have a look, because I don't think you'll find anything to expose me.
Wow.
I've got things in my life like that go way, way back that I've already been open with. I've got nothing to hide. I've been a wrong 'un.
From prison. I've seen everything.
You know what I mean? I've done things wrong in my life. I've been in debt. I've been in prison. I've been in wrong relationships.
Me too.
I've got all of it there. But what I do now, and the people that are connected to me in my life, I respect so much. Now, every now and again, because of what I do, I'm going to have energies come at me to try and discredit. And they do that purposely, and they do it over and over all day long. Keep at it. All you're doing is giving me energy, and I love it, because I'll give you a little poke here, now and again, and what happens is you'll go off, and what you're truly doing is free advertising me. And I love it, because certain people out there are really malicious and nasty with their trolling. They're the ones that really give me the energy, because people are looking it up and go, what a tosspot doing that. Obviously, when they look at my stuff, they see that what I'm trying to do, I might have got it all totally wrong. All the stuff that I'm doing might have been pre-written for me to walk out there and make a complete cunt of myself and enforce the New World Order. But what I believe I'm doing is from the heart and doing things for the good. But who knows, truly, at the end of the day, what is real in this matrix that we call the universe?
We'll be in control from the top. That's just, there's no doubt about that whatsoever. And like, obviously, the more you're talking about the way the truth movement is, it seems that shoes are just coming out of the
So
woodwork
it
left,
would-
right, centre.
It will be not just, if it's like a pyramid scheme again, then within the truth movement, it's literally the ones at the top, isn't it, that are controlling it?
It's all divide and conquer. It's all, that's why you
So
have
are they going to bring out
arguments.
their own political party, their own banking system, their own beliefs?
Your own religion, own currency.
And
I
this-
honestly think that the currency is the mark of the beast. That's what the final step of it all.
So whether you've got paper, coins, Bitcoin, MPE, RFID chips, it doesn't matter. This is something that's going to control you away from humanity.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you should all drop money and all the rest of it, but could you not agree with me that money is not actually needed, and it is what has been created to control the mass of people out there from a select few families? It's quite that simple to see. So surely the solution would be not to use it anymore. Stop registering your children, which are tied to the banking system with bonds, and then this is how it's done. It's you are a bonded slave, Neo.
Yeah, we're living
You're
in
just
a
a
prison,
cell.
living in a prison like bars.
Yeah, it is. This is what I've said time and time again. It's a prison without bars, a prison that you cannot taste, you cannot touch, you cannot see.
100%.
I noticed there you mentioned you'd spent a bit of time in prison. I've been to prison, Dom, when I was younger, detention centre. I did actually spend 17 hours in Strangeways prison in Manchester, and I was all I needed. That was all I needed. On remand. Not a nice place. But I tell you something, you know, if you were in India, you would be given a cell to go into. The only thing you'd have is a piece of cloth to keep yourself decent, and perhaps a bowl for your food, maybe a stick to beat away the snakes and the tigers. That's it. And there you find yourself. You find yourself by stripping all those possessions away. You realise, you know. I mean, I've never done that.
With you there.
Here, the only way it's achievable is to get locked up by the so-called authority.
You don't necessarily have to go to prison to find yourself, but...
No, I'm not saying what is available here. That is not available here in the West. The only way it is here in England, for those people who need to break free from that hypothetical cell that most people see. I'm right with you with that. I don't need to have someone drag me out of this cell to place me into another cell and abuse me further. I've imprisoned myself in these four walls. I can see the bars that I write the rules on the windows. I really can.
I had a copper say to me when I was saying to him, look, you've literally got no authority, mate, because you have to follow a body of rules and ask somebody who's superior to you, where has your authority gone? And he goes, well, I'll show you who's got authority when I throw you in the cell. I was like, are you claiming that the cell has authority then and you don't? Because...
Yeah, I've tried similar arguments in the past here in the north, Dom, and I've been beaten with sticks to the ground.
I've only ever been harmed by somebody that's wearing an illusionary crown once, if I can remember rightly. But then again, I've got things wrong before. Because said to me last night when I turned up at his place, he said, have you ever been offered to join the Illuminati or anything like that? And I had a little think about it, and I went, no. And then, like, when that thread started off today and there was somebody having a little rant on her, and her name's Bodicea Victory, it was like, hang on a minute. She asked me to join this Illuminati order called Audius, I can't remember, Audius Infinitus Obius or something. I can't even remember what it is. And...
it's Laviosa.
Yeah, it's all Harry Potterish. And the thing is, I do believe that the Illuminati, or whatever you want to label them, and these elitists do look at sacred geometry. They look at the pattern of life, the Fibonacci, and they try and read and manipulate what's going on, because the pattern of life is in everything, or the flower of life, the Fibonacci sequence is what Nostradamus allegedly tried to use to do predictions. And this pattern is found in every living thing, much like DMT or ayahuasca. When you're doing ayahuasca, you apparently see sometimes serpents and DNA type things and living beings within other realms. It's like, what is real? Because I've had some experiences in my life where it's not of this realm, but is that my mind? And what is the mind? And what is the now? And where can you take yourself?
I've got to go with Zach and whose army track we play quite a lot. It's produced by a guy who's helped us out quite a lot on Dark City and Vostok. And he says he is his own Illuminati of his mind. I am my own Illuminati of my mind. So I would go for that. I am my own Illuminati. Have I ever joined a cult? I set up a cult, actually, Dom, a while ago. I can't believe it's not Buddha. It was an individual cult of one, and I got threw out for letting my mate join. So yeah, I think a lot of it is children playing with things that won't really do.
One thing to claim to be illuminated and Illuminati and all the rest of it, and using that as a definition of a word and being enlightened. But on the other hand, when you look at the manifesto and it says on it, keep all other humans or all humans in the dark. And it's like, well, what's that about then? Well, they're ignorant. And it's like, pardon?
How many of them, Dom, think it's the other way around, that we are actually living in the dark and that they should, and I kind of get what they're on about. I don't do light or dark me within, what I've learned from my experience. It's just, they're both energies. That's what they are. They're both energies, and it's what you do with them. That's what's important for me. I don't need to use a structured ritual to be able to cast energy. Energy moves because I will it to do so.
Well, you create magic with your thoughts, I believe.
Right. No, that's right. That's not a belief for me, man. That's not a belief. It's not something I wish for. It's something I've been made consciously aware of. So and I actually say made. I was made consciously aware of it, So
with your thoughts, you've got to be aware of your thoughts and not try to harm your brothers. And the people that are doing you the most harm in your life, you should be sending them back resonance of love. And I can be hypocritical at times. I can really, because of the way people have gone at me, I've really wanted to go to town on them.
You could, Dom. You could actually train yourself not to think.
Pardon?
You could actually train yourself not to think.
It's not it's
Very close, though. Very close. So
I agree. That's the thing, the now. When you're in that moment of the now, like I've heard Eckhart Tolle explain it as when you're looking at a little bumblebee or a flower or a petal, and you look at that tiny little bit and you're in that moment of that nowness of the flower and you're there in the moment, and somebody else is like calls you or something and takes you out of that moment or clicks their fingers next to you, takes you out of that being in that nowness. And that is a place of not thinking, not having worries, and being you with yourself and just you.
Yeah,
the ego.
There is no time for thought in the now. There is no time to think of what it may or may not be. You mentioned the flower of life. There's a guy out there, I'm pretty sure it was the flower of life you were speaking of, the 52 concentric circles, is it? Correct me in chat if I'm wrong there. It could be 49. I think it's 52. I'm terrible with numbers. Which everything in this visible universe can be projected through. And it is a technique you can use to see many, many different things within that pattern. It's how you look at it. You can see all sorts. There is a manual set out by a guy, and workshops done by a guy called Drumbelow Melchizedek. Now, Melchizedek, in this sense, is the highest order that an individual could reach who is programmed within the Christian structure. you'll be quite well aware of the Christian structure, Dom, as you go into courts and you're aware of court proceedings, and that the court is really a church. It is not a court at all.
Well, I've always seen the Bible as a rule book that's heavily connected to the courts, and I've seen this from a young age as a child.
Oh yes, I couldn't. Well, the evidence is there. We don't, to quote Batman. Where's the evidence? Well, the evidence is there before us. You walk into a courtroom, they ask you to perjure yourself on the Bible, to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Well, how many of us know what the whole truth?
Well, the thing
how
is,
many of us know the whole truth? Do you know the whole truth, Tom?
This is the whole thing, right?
Book of Enoch.
Book of Enoch. I'm getting shouted over my shoulder. Have you ever read the Book of Enoch?
The 52. Yod He Vod He in the Everlasting Light. That Book of Enoch.
What's the Book of Enoch?
It was made thousands years before the Bible, and they tried to.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay. Yeah. There's another Book of Enoch. The Yod He Vod He in the Everlasting Light. More recent, written in 1984, I think, by J.J. Hurtak. The 64 keys to unlocking the biomechanical physical computer. Said it'd take 30 years for, all these videos were banned and everything. It's really cool.
Yeah, right. I've got a question for you from Because. What do you think about the Mark of the Beast?
And the RFID chip.
RFID chip. Well, we were just talking about this. Like,
I had bits of it.
We were saying about, like, because you're into Bitcoin yourself, aren't you?
Me? Into Bitcoin? Yeah. Oh, God, I won't say I'm into Bitcoin. I'm aware of Bitcoin, and we've done our experiments in it. When I first came across it, you can tell how uncertain I am when I'm speaking, because I go, When I first came across it, I thought it was just another pyramid scheme. I really did. What's it doing? I keep asking myself, what's it doing? I suspect that Bitcoin could actually be orchestrated by the banks to be a one-world currency. I suspect this. I don't know, Dom. I really don't know, but I'm beginning to get more and more swayed in that direction.
Well, it's one of these alternative currencies that is on the market, but you buy into it with fiat currency, and it's going up in value dramatically at the moment, isn't it?
Hang on. You are right. You can actually buy in with fiat currency. I'd actually ask people to stop buying Bitcoins at the moment, because I'd like to buy some more, and if they keep buying them, the price will keep going up. So don't buy Bitcoins. No, seriously, yes, they have. They've risen since, I think it was last October. Me and two friends, we invested £100 into buying Bitcoins. For me, it was just, that's ridiculous. I can use fiat fake debtors notes, because that's what the pound is, right? It's a debt.
Yeah, but that's not the point. The point is, with them fiat, you still have to put your sweat equity into retrieving the fiat.
Created in Bitcoin. So they say, Dom. Again, I don't know. I'm not defending Bitcoin here. I don't think I am, because I generally do not know. The Bitcoin is also created wealth by time and energy in the mining of Bitcoins. I've actually suspected that they might be doing nothing. They might just be computer puzzles where they're using people around the world, like myself, who are mining Bitcoin, to actually use time and money to create value. And it is doing.
Well, I don't know. I'm not too sure about this Bitcoin.
Well, if you think about Bill Hicks, if you think about what Bill Hicks said, that people come around all through our lives, throughout loads of generations, people have come along and they've said, look, it's just a ride, and you can change it whenever you want. It really is just a ride. As an individual, you can change that ride whenever you like. There's nothing stopping you. And what do they do? What do, Dom? They come around and they kill them people. So if you look at it that way, then I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think they do kill them
very
people.
suspicious.
Right, I don't think they do kill them people until them people are in fear. Because if you have a look at these people in history, you've got Lennon when he started exposing the banks, and you started to hear the tapes of him the last couple of weeks. He was in paranoia. He knew something was going to happen. Diana.
No, my point there, Dom, is people have got time and money invested in it. You see, the ones who get angry at people who come along, like yourself and me, and say, it's just a ride, change it whenever you want. The people who've got money and time, their houses and the jobs and all that invested.
Shut him up.
Yeah, you got it.
Knowledge, it happens the same with knowledge as well.
Yeah, most definitely. We call it the symptoms of Gladio. It's when individuals will defend the position they're in, opposed to actually taking on an alternative. They actually will defend the position. We find this with trying to set up free radio. That is actually free. Of course, things cost money in this reality we're living in. People are, well, how'd you do it? Well, we were already paying. We were already paying for all this. We're paying for it already. We set up the bitcoins. Maybe the New World Order is supporting it. At the moment it isn't. It hasn't made any money. But I suspect it's one of them. The people who will try and stop it are the ones...
It's an exclusive, everybody. Dark City is run by the New World Order and Bitcoin.
No, yeah, that's it. Yeah. My point is, Dom, and I don't think I've really got it across. Let me have another go. Look, in 8 years' time, right, there'll be a hell of a lot of people who've invested a lot of time, money and energy into Bitcoin. Right?
Yeah.
Them are the ones then. Them are the ones, if somebody tries to they'll use them, they'll turn it then and use them people. And that's us lot. It's us lot. There's no massive people in it, really. It's lots of little individuals. They'll try and get us to defend the system of Bitcoin. It's just a manipulative game. That's what I think. I really do. Like I say, I do get suspicious, but I'm not scared of Bitcoin. I'm far from it. If what I suspect is going to happen does happen...
You're saying people do defend things to the hilt, whether they're in the wrong, because it's what financially backs them, really. They've got something invested in it.
No, it's Gladio. It's a system that's used. It's not really anything to do with money. It's to do with fear.
Yeah. It's not even... I just thought that. It's not even the currency. It's just having some kind of investment in it, whether it's your time, energy...
There is a story about Gladio, which is available on the internet. It's quite famous, about a man being found on the Blackfriars Bridge with a brick in his pocket hung by the neck. They said it was a ritual Masonic killing, and Britain became terrified of the Masons. I suspect the Masons can't do any more than send the police around and wreck your house. I mean, I think I asked about the amount of the power. Yeah, they've got a few rituals they do energetically, and they will actually... do demonic ritual to try and get their own way in life and so forth. Of course they do. The regalia is there for doing those rituals, but that's no different than you'll find in any church or synagogue, anywhere else. They've got people go through a ritual to bring themselves to a point where they're ready to give up their energy. And that's how I see it. People have been coerced for thousands of years to surrender their energy. It's got nothing to do with money or land or the birds or the trees or save the elephant or give a panda a new tree.
So, can I ask you, Paul, why do you want to do like a free radio and things like that? Because
I don't, Dom. You've got...
He doesn't, Dom. He doesn't.
What do you want, Paul?
You're putting me on it. I don't actually want or need anything, Dom.
That's about right.
It's a difficult one to answer. I'll tell you as best I can. Now you've got me live on air. I was guided to put the components together. We don't need to create anything else. We need to assemble the components. And I began to do that. I thought it was only relative to myself. I started to look around me and put things we already had together and started to see that it was the solution. Aquaponics for one. I know people are everybody knows about aquaponics.
You're not allowed to talk about aquaponics. That's coming up at 9 o'clock.
Excuse me, we're going to have a talk on that actually later. So Excuse me, yeah. But yeah, that was one of the key factors when I realised that, and I could see then back through my life that that's what I'd done. That's what I've been doing. I wasn't actually creating anything here. I've manipulated many things to look beautiful from things that were derelict. You know, I've taken rock and made houses and so forth. You know, and others have done wondrous things. But it seems to me that I was only manipulating what was here. And yeah, I had a few experiences, what people would call spiritual experiences, which I actually think are natural things that actually occur. It's nothing strange. There's no veil. There's no going beyond the what's it. There isn't. It's a natural thing that occurs as the consciousness begins to mature. Anyway, though, like I say, best way I can explain it is I was guided to assemble the components. I was like, well, right, whatever. And yeah, we did. And sure enough, within a matter of, within a matter of days of us actually saying, right, okay, we'll do this then. It seems to be what's needed. This is it. I assembled a few programs onto a machine. Me and Jim fired Dark City Radio up. We went live on air, just testing it, and it's been pretty much running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week ever since.
Well, I think it's a good thing you're doing, and it was synchronicity.
Oh, well, it's not me, please, Dom. It's not me who's doing it. I do really feel like, I mean, it's not that I want to stop doing it. I'm having a great time, actually, which is good for me. I've been a good friend to myself here as well.
Couldn't do it without you, though.
Yeah, but and look, there wouldn't be a Dark City without the listeners and without you, Dom, without Bob Earthwise who's joined us, without Dawn who came in, who only got to say hello, busy woman, but you know, people like that, people tuning in the middle of the day and hearing the little jingle things we've got and making comments on Facebook. That's what makes it. You know, the trolls attacking us, taking down the Facebook group. That's it. We've got to come from, as Max said earlier, it resonated with me. We've got to be all sides. We've got to be all things. You know, we have. We can't leave. We can't leave any part behind. Every single part of this reality we're in, brothers and sisters, is as vitally as important as everything else. There's no little tiny speck that isn't as important as the total mass. You take one bit of it away, and all of it would irreversibly change. Everyone's scared of that.
Well, I liked it what you said with that copper in Ashton. We couldn't do it without you, and that's the whole thing. It's like exactly. I'm amazed when people want to see my stuff on YouTube because I'm only being me.
I'm not freedom, and my position is being created by the people. And now that the local authorities, the councils, they created the position for me to have the action with my friends here in Ashton for the land. You know, the other people who slapped us down created Dark City Radio. They created it. You know, they don't know they're doing it. They don't.
You know what, though? I do sometimes think I'm seen to be promoting freedom, but I don't feel very free sometimes.
Yeah, I know. Me too. It's what you're feeling. Well, the crack is we're all free now. Every single one of us is free now. We can all, you know, just unite and change the world immediately. We are pretty disconnected mentally. We're disconnected from our emotional selves. We're a bit messed up, you know. And I think we've got to be honest. Individuals have to be honest. You know, however clever you think you are, you ain't got it. We haven't done it, not yet. Well, look, we're diverse. We've got multiple different cultures all beginning to work together, different creeds and colours and religions, and we're coming together with a common purpose. I'm not quite sure what that...
You no Freudian slips on this show.
Oh, what was that? What did I say? Common purpose. Is that a bad thing? Oh, look, there's so many of these groups with inside the groups being taught. That's why I'm kind of like, I suppose, as Mel would say, on the fringe of things. I'm not in any of the groups. I'm not. I'm
not in any group.
I'm the space in between them. That's what I am. And every time one of them groups focuses its energy at somebody else, it's energy between they're focusing it on. It don't get to anybody else. You can't give your energy up. You can't cast your energy to somebody else. That was a couple of 100 years ago, you know. That was old school. Nowadays, you have to deal with your own energy. That's what's coming. Why would you want someone else's energy? Why would you want to focus your energy at someone else and have their energy? What's all that about? Some kind of vampiric state we've all had to live in.
Well, I think that there are some sick people out there, and especially people that are looking into this information. You've got to think the people that are going to look this up are going to be the ones that have been hit by the system, and they feel that there's something wrong. So there's a lot of people out there, like if you take the Occupy movement, for instance, a lot of people that turned up to the Occupy movement were the ones that were hit the hardest by society. They were on such hard times, whether they had crack habits, heroin addicts, alcoholics, all sorts of mental illnesses, and the Occupy movement tried to put a blanket over them, and because it's not good for the camera, it just doesn't look nice having all these problems around. But when you think about it, this is what society has created.
Well, that is infiltration. Look, I'm not having a go at anybody who's an heroin addict who's on drugs, right? I get, right, the emotional position that you were in younger days has led you into that. You know, I'm not pointing a finger at blame at them. If anything, there, I'm saying, look, if you are addicted to anything, you know, you've got to start helping yourself. Help yourself to get out of it. You're vitally important. You're as important as anybody else. You know, but you know that is infiltration into the travellers, the original travellers, the peace convoyers doing all across the world, the infiltration into it. Heroin was never around. You couldn't buy heroin at Stonehenge Festival. You couldn't go on that site and start selling heroin. That didn't happen. Wasn't there. You know, didn't happen. But now it's on every street corner and every town.
Are you telling me these hippies were policing themselves?
Yes, man. You couldn't get heroin. You know, there were cases of people bringing heroin to Stonehenge and the women dealt with them. I tell you something, Dom, when you see the women deal with someone, you don't put your foot out. You don't step out of line. These are women. I'm not talking about young girls, women. And when they get hold of heroin dealers, lo and behold. But we've got to remember the dealers themselves are victims. They're victims as well. We're all kind of tied up in this together. That's why I love your angle on compassion and love and understanding. Something I've got to have for myself before I know what I'm projecting at others. I've got to love myself, have compassion for myself, like I say, man. Otherwise, I could be projecting any old shite at people and calling it love. You know, I suspect, man, the few moments I've spent in the moment, if you excuse me, and your friend there mentioned about letting anything pull you out of that moment. You know, the few moments I've spent in that moment have taught me. Talking of the moment, Dom, look who's joined you.
What, Dawn?
Yeah, you go.
Hello.
Why you said, look, who's joined? I'm lost.
In the moment, we were in the moment. I was talking about bliss in the moment, and Dawn turned up.
Well, Dawn, aren't you the one that had, a little bit to get off your chest about Occupy?
Wait a minute, I had to unmute there. I have spoke about something about the Occupy before, but it was about the Wall Street Occupy that I was talking about, and like some of the research. I can reiterate what I said before about the first people to put out the call for the Occupy Wall Street were the Adbusters Media Foundation, and they were funded by the Tides Foundation. Tides Foundation's a pass-through cover money on laundering operation, basically for like the Rockefeller Foundation, Gates Foundation, Ford Foundation, Kellogg's Foundation, and that was funded by George Soros, who is a Rothschild agent. So there you go. You've got the Rothschilds, you've got Rockefellers, you've got Kellogg's, big corporation. You've got the Ford, and like you've got the Gates. All these big global connections controlling like the funding. Tides was funding the Adbusters Media Foundation. So through that, I also found that there was like a board of directors who was working as she was a senior strategist for the White House Green Agenda, the carbon tax, cap and trade scam, basically. They're trying to obviously bring in these carbon taxes, which is it opens a whole other kettle of fish, really.
Well, that's all in line with Agenda 21 sort of policies.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And like, what's Agenda 21 in your words?
Oh, you're putting me in the spot here.
Okay. Because the way I see Agenda 21, it promotes a green, sustainable model. So anyone that's saying, yeah, we've got to be green and the rest of it, climate change, promoting that humans are creating this huge climate change, which is, well, we're not helping the planet. We're definitely not living natural. So, like, that's how they can pull the wool over people's eyes and then start charging them for.
But it's also bringing in like the depopulation agenda as well. It's somebody got their headphones not on or whatever because I'm echoing.
Everybody sounds. Oh no, I'm getting a little bit of. I don't know. Do you speak then, Don? Carry on. You're coming through all right, Don. Don, but you have got a little bit of an echo on yourself. I'm not getting anything off anybody else, Don. But can hear you.
It's all relating this. As far as I'm aware, it's all relating to their depopulation agenda. Like they want to bring carbon emissions down to 0%, and really the only. I mean, if I'm still echoing, when I'm talking, I can hear myself back.
Yeah, I think it's coming from Don, but it's only happening between the two of you.
I'll just put some headphones in. You carry on talking, and I'll be back in a second. But, like, say about the depopulation plan.
Right. Basically, Bill Gates wants to get the carbon emissions down to 0%. And now, the only way that you can get carbon down to zero, I mean, when plants need it to breathe and we exhale it as humans, is really to depopulate. That's the only rational way that you can do it.
Just playing. Where did Agenda 21 originate?
I'm not too sure. It was a government policy as such.
That's enough.
Yeah.
That's enough. It was a government, so it originated from a government.
Yeah, it's a green policy.
Can I just butt in here? It comes from the UN. It's a UN policy. And it's ratified by all the governments that are part of the UN. So that's 195 of them.
But the thing is, does it say? It doesn't say about depopulation within Agenda 21, does it? It's that.
But it's all incorporated as in the New World Order agenda. Basically, it's all relevant.
But do you think they could put this information out there to make people that are searching for truths in fear, going, oh, they want to depopulate the world? Because at the end of the day, they've got huge control over the masses that are not prepared to do anything against this corruption. So do they need to depopulate?
Well, that's a good question. Do they need to depopulate? It's more they want total control. I mean, when you go back to you can go to the FEMA camps argument with this, the FEMA concentration camps. Why have they got these FEMA concentration camps? Why have they got the re-education centres? Sorry?
To keep you in fear, right? If you're running like
why have they okay, but why have they got like the red, the yellow, and the blue list as well? You know, why have they got a list of like who is like the red list is like people that are maybe radio hosts or truth radio hosts or whatever, like people that are putting themselves out there, leaders of activism basically, right? They've got a red list of people they want to kill. A yellow list is people that are like following the red list, and the blue list is people that are following the red list, and the yellow list is people that will never wake up basically.
Well,
and they were going to enslave them basically and use them.
So where's this list from?
2 seconds and I'll just pull it up.
Has anybody else heard about this list? Because I hear some wild things.
Because I did research. I've done a lot of research in FEMA before. I actually ran a page as well, and I've got like
I've seen some
information about
plans.
it. There's if you check out HR 645, you check out Veitch 64.
I've seen government plans for over here, for contingencies plans for evacuations and things like that in London. And it does look like nasty shit. If they're putting this stuff in the pipeline and it looks like a huge apocalyptic type style thing going to go on, so they're putting all these precautions in place. And when the system collapses, it looks like what they've got in place is every city in the UK has got a ring road round it. Now, if it kicked off in such a fashion that they'd have to bring in martial law, then like everyone that would be like the rebellious ones that were all kicking up and rising up, they're all in these ring road areas called cities, and like they'll just bring the military in round the side, and then you've got your perfect Orwellian state.
Just going back to the earlier point of Agenda 21, and the reason why I asked, and thanks Bob for clarifying its origin. I was going to say, look, it's a government agenda, therefore you know, just stay away. Literally stay away. It's a government agenda.
You can't stay away, right?
No. I mean, I didn't mean to stay away. I meant it's not good for us. It's bad. Stay away. Ugh. You with me? I'm not disputing its running. And that was my jury then satisfied. And then when Bob came in and said, no, it's the United Nations, I had a unanimous jury on Agenda 21.
What I mean by can't stay away from it is like when it's tied in with things like Codex Alimentarius and Monsanto, these are all things that are taking a grip on the world by telling people what they can farm, what they can't farm, how they farm it, what they use, and this is control every single. If you control the food, you control the people, and like they control every single aspect. Even want to bring out carbon tax. You may as well say, we are going to now tax the air that you breathe. And this is how stupid it's got, and how much more rights and perceived freedoms are they going to take off of the people before people actually start doing something about it?
Don't know, Dom, there. It's a good question, mate. It's been a long, progressive process, hasn't it? Or programme that has been run there. Like I say, I don't dispute that. On your point of militarisation, that's what the motorways were originally put into because of the Cold War. So we could move our mobile launchers around and move the army around. It was
really.
Yeah, it was quite well known. It won't take anybody out there too much research to find this. It was quite well known that come some form of attack or war, and at that point it was Russia, that the motorways would be closed. They would be used for military use. Whether that still stands or not, or whether this is just something else being regurgitated again, or part of a huge conspiracy. I really hope there has been a conspiracy. I hope all this is conspired, because
if you look down the motorways as well, you've got all them signs in the black and yellow, which are all military triangles and squares, sending you to certain places. Every now and again, you've got one little drive off, which you're not allowed to drive off. It will be for the military, and you've got these up and down different motorways. And I've walked down motorways and seen some suspect caged up fortress type things just buried with all barbed wire and cameras on them, and like there's some really strange places. Like there's people don't get out there and walk that much, but you could find some wonderful things out there, like in the middle of nowhere.
Well, they built a hill in my town and nobody noticed it, Dom. So, you know, we've said this before. If they can build a hill in your local town and nobody notices, we can't really expect these same people to notice them orchestrating wars in far-off lands. The rollover, I mentioned Gladio before. You were talking about the truthers. I didn't want to go too far back. Would be the system of having the net It is to catch the awakening truther, if you like. Someone who's beginning to look inside that system, that corrupt system, is beginning to awaken to it. I don't really know if the word awaken's right anymore. But, you know, they're beginning to realise that the system we're living, they're actually living, and most of us are still living in, is collapsing all around us. You know,
I'm gonna cut in here, and I'm gonna go back to the FEMA stuff, because there's a new law that's actually come out they're trying to push through these camps at the moment, and it came out on the 23rd of January, I believe, in the US. It'll just get the information up. HR 390, National Emergency Centres Establishment Act. It's basically to direct the Secretary of Homeland Security to establish national emergency centres on military installations. So in other words, it's just adding like extra razor wire bundles for rapid deploy in case there is any issue. It's just another way of expanding previous police state laws, basically. I think it's definitely something that we have to be. I mean, okay, we're not American yet.
How would they bring that in?
What are they doing over here? What are they doing alternatively over in the UK? Is my concern, really. But we should be concerned because it has global ramifications. You know, the more they try to extend this police state within the US, it's going to affect the rest of the world. There's no getting away from that.
How do you think they're going to try and push more and more into this police draconian state? Do you have any idea?
I mean, they've got the Patriot Act. They've got the Patriot Act to start with, and they're just going to keep trying to put in extensions on the laws that they're already putting in, and kind of subtly creep in and assess the population's reaction to it, and if it's too, at the time it's too big a negative reaction, they'll pull back a little bit, but they'll wait a wee while and then they'll creep back in and try and put the law in under different wording. And what they usually do is they're quite sneaky. They bring in the new bills and they basically give the senators whatever very little time to look at the content of what's in the bill, because it's like these bills are like 1,000 pages or maybe more, and they haven't got the time to really read and understand these bills before they're passed, or before they're like voted on, basically.
Yeah.
So they have to. So that's how they get away with it. That's something that we have to be keeping on top of, basically, is looking into these bills, seeing what they're about. And it's not like, okay, that's the US, but it's the same principle over in the UK, really.
Okay.
The law is here. We have to be keeping on top of what they're trying to pass, what they're trying to put.
Okay, so I'm totally with you on this, and this is where I'm coming from. Now, if you have a look at these protests, when they reach a certain size or some huge action happens, they go and take this to the High Court. When you're passing stuff through at the High Court, it becomes case law and it sets precedent. And this is why I worry about the promotion in the mainstream media and in shopping centres and all sorts. All this big promotion over the past year of protests and rebellion and all this kind of stuff. Is this what they want? Do they want to push it so it gets to such a stage where they can just go, okay, we're going to take these rights off these people and these rights off of these people and these and these and these and these and these because of the action that you've done? That's what I'm worried about. For other people, it doesn't bother me because I don't consent to their statutes and acts and they can't take anything from me. I don't even have a name anymore to play with. But that's not me that I'm worried about. It's everybody else that is stuck by this matrix that they've got everybody playing.
They can't see the wood for the trees. They're so distracted by meaningless things and by materialistic goals and working to pay for things that they'll never be able to pay off or whatever. They're trapped in this whole debt cycle and I need this, I need a new computer, I need, all this luxury that they don't really need. And their priorities are totally skewed. And Badger wants to join us.
And Prajna and Badger have joined.
Prajna and Carly. And,
did you need to join?
Carly's been sitting here all the way through the show saying and I thought that maybe she should put a word in. But
did you feel that you needed to join, Kaz?
I didn't. I was just happily spouting off. But very interested in the conversation that you're having. I think you're actually stopping short of the mark, Dom, to be honest, because what they plan is to round us up. They're getting the statutes and acts in place in America to round people up. And now that I'm live on air, I've all gone to pieces.
They're doing it here too, and they definitely want to kill us because they already are with chemtrails and with aspartame and with all the fluoride and mercury and all the rest of this stuff is all absolutely aimed at our immune systems. Just about every kind of thing.
Exactly, and that's what this list is about. That's what the red, blue and yellow list is about. This is a list. They're organised people, and then and order of like who they're going to kill first. They're going to kill the people, the intelligent people. They're going to kill the people that are aware. Well, I'm not saying awake as such because, okay, what we know is just the tip of the iceberg, right? I'm not arrogant to say I know everything. I don't, right? But they are going to go for the people that are out there like speaking the truth and being figureheads as such. They are going to target these people. They're not going to go for the people that don't have a clue what's going on. That's not their interest. They can use them. They're like they'll serve a purpose to them to be their slaves or whatever. The blue people are kind of open to things. They're listening to what the red people are saying and coming. I don't want to say awake, but they kind of realise what's going on, but they're still like trapped in the matrix to an extent as well. I mean, we are all part of the matrix. It's inescapable in a sense. We're all still like in some respects dipping in and out, more so than others, some more than others, obviously. It's not something that you can totally get away from, but it's something that kind of, me personally, I strive to try and be as minimal a part of it as I can on a personal level. I think once you know that you're being fucked with, once you know, can I swear? I've just done it anyway. But once you know that you're being messed with psychologically from all angles, you're in a kind of good position, to have it happen to you less. You're kind of aware of there be tricks like their neural linguistical programming and all that kind of jazz, and the fact that a lot of the music.
Last night I posted on the Dark City Radio group on Facebook. I posted a track called, I think, "We Are Free." Let me just go and find it. But that talks about a lot of the things that you're talking about. It's well worth listening to. It's called "We Are Free" and it's on SoundCloud. I'll paste it in chat as well so that people in chat can see where it is. It very much it very much does relate to this, I think.
But we are very much. I know that everybody in here is aware of this, obviously, but we are being programmed from all angles, like with the music videos, the subliminal messages in the music videos, and then there's all the characters like Rihanna and whatnot that are kind of dancing about and with the Baphomet image and whatnot, and it's all kind of like it's flashing in front of our eyes really fast, and so people take it in a subconscious level without actually realising, And a lot of the messaging in songs are actually, if you play them backwards, you hear like
even play them forward. Some of them, we're all going to die young or something.
And it's like,
and if you play back Beatles, it says it's a fake moustache.
And there's a lot of debate about whether the Paul McCartney is the same Paul McCartney that was in the Beatles originally. I'm kind of two minds about this, but
well, he died in the 60s allegedly, didn't he? That's what the conspiracy theory says.
Exactly.
In a car crash, and they were trying to hint to this on all their albums. Even the Sgt. Pepper one, where they seem to be all at a grave with flowers on top of the grave, which spells Beatles. Underneath that, you've got a yellow left-handed bass guitar. And if you look closely, the flowers on the bass guitar spell out Paul. And it's like hinting that it's Paul's grave. And then like on the drum kit, you take out letters. Basically, it says, you read it on the album, here lies Paul. And it's done like backwards. It's to do with Aleister Crowley sort of work. They mention Aleister Crowley. They've even got him on the album, and they said that we've sung some of the albums backwards, or some of the parts in it, and it took them hours to perfect it. And this is it. It's like putting these mantras backwards. It's witchcraft. And
well, I think Crowley. There are 1,001 different ways to interpret him, really. And who knows the truth about him? I think, he said a lot of the things that he said was all his way of teaching people something. Different people have taken different things from him, really. Robert Anton Wilson was very into Crowley. I think a lot of the intellectuals in the 60s were.
This is it. I'm not saying like magic is something that's all around every day, you know what I mean? They've taught us to spell words. So when you're casting these words in a resonance from your voice, this is part of the magic that they've taught you this language. And you're casting it every day, not knowing what half of these words truly mean.
So who decided what words were going to mean what? Who actually, I mean, if you go right back, when you think about it, who is actually taking it upon themselves to say, like, hate is going to mean that you don't like something or whatever, or the whole language that we've got.
Where does it
People
start? You mean?
Don't think about words. This all gets into neurolinguistic programming and
exactly
semantics.
It's all kind of. Sure. I mean, we've said it before, and we all know about it, obviously. But like the whole legalese and everything, like how things can have double meanings and whatnot.
There's a guy
called. We can be using words without even knowing we can be using words out of their actual context, the actual proper meaning.
For sure, all the time,
just
every
look
day.
At the meaning, look at the meaning of religion for a start. If you look at where the word religion comes from, it comes from legare. And legare means to bind. It's where we get the word ligament from. So religion means to be bound to a doctrine or an idea. And interestingly, if you look up heresy and heretic, you'll find that the root there is heresis from Greek. And heresis means choice. It means freedom. So the only thing to do is to be a heretic in whatever way you can. And I think maybe this was one of the things that Crowley was trying to teach people, was be a heretic. It doesn't mean do evil things, and it doesn't mean do half the things that Crowley went out and did. But certainly you don't discover anything by being bound by all of the dogmas that you've been brought up in. And this is where you've got to attack your own dogmas until there are none.
And Crowley was right as well on that do what thou wilt stuff, except he didn't go far enough.
And say, may it harm none.
Yeah.
And what is it the Beatles sung? I am he and...
He is me and we are all together.
Well, that's the thing. It's like Crowley mentions that in his book. It's I am he. Repeat this backwards.
Yeah, there were a lot of... Crowley gave an awful lot of practices, which is one thing.
So, like, these people that have
practical...
hit the top of the media and things like that, they're... Well, whether they know they're doing it, whether they know they're being manipulated or being told what to do, and I believe, like, when... was it Lennon that said, "We're bigger than Jesus"? Now, when that happened... When that happened, all the Christians in America went out and bought the album and burnt it in disrespect to the Beatles. Now, what they've effectively done there is sent them straight to #1 by buying their album.
Yeah, of course.
So this is the technique that the Tavistock sort of use.
Yeah, the system. When you stop fighting the system, then it brings the fight to you. When it brings a fight to you, it's you that gets stronger. And this is what happens when they attack, all these Christians attack trying to do damage, suddenly they're promoting instead. And, it was the same, someone asked me, because I do website design and stuff, how do you get your site up in the top of Google? And I said, it's easy. All you've got to do is just set up camp on the side of the A41. The internet has leveled us all. So all of us can be a Microsoft if we want to on the internet.
Can I ask a question really quickly just before we end? When you think of
that was the question, Don.
Yeah, but I want to ask one as well.
We're getting very pedantic about these things.
When you think of democracy, what do you think? Because I think democracy, right?
Democracy.
I don't think of democracy.
Good answer.
I think of individuals in everything. I never see any fictions.
A system like democracy can only ever work in a small group anyway.
Well, I think the best quote of the night has to come from Paul, personally. Let's stop thinking. Obviously,
stop thinking.
Yeah, we're not that fucking bright as a race. Look at us. Look what we do.
At least take some pauses and thinking.
Yeah. Just enjoy the now. Stop thinking. Just be you. Just enjoy it. Anyway, this is it for the end of the couple of hours. So I'm going to have to say after 9 is a permaculture hour, I believe. And I'd like to say thank you to all the fabulous guests tonight.
Yeah, God bless as well. God bless.
Even because 3001 on YouTube. Known his stuff for years. But like, this is the whole thing. Go and do research. Don't believe anything and try. Well, I say I try to believe nothing and I know very little of what there is to know. And when all the pennies drop, the pound will fall. So any last words?
Yeah, do listen to that track on SoundCloud. It's in the chat.
Will do.
Brilliant. All right,
I've got it bookmarked, so I'll check it out. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.